Hey, thanks for joining me today. You're listening to the Sit Down with Roman Gray. Hello, hello, hello. Today, what are we going to talk about? What am I going to talk about? Today, I'm going to talk about escapism. It feels like more than anything else right now, we're all just trying to escape the rat race, right? We've all heard that before. That's the goal for most of us to aim for. That's what we spend most of our lives on, escaping. Whether it's escaping the rat race or our own problems. We constantly seek ways for ourselves to get away from our problems, our troubles, our worries. We're all modern day escape artists, and our escape routes end up being our vices. More often than not, our escape routes become our addiction, whether it's drugs, sex, music, writing, dancing, racing, gambling, or even daydreaming. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's endless, really. We're escape artists, just like Houdini, except our chains aren't physical, or better yet, our chains are invisible. I found myself a lot in the past few years trying to find new ways of escaping my reality. Something to think or do whenever I didn't want to cope with what I was dealing with or battling that day. And it did eventually consume me. Whenever I got the chance to, I would try to escape into what made me feel better. There isn't necessarily anything wrong with escapism, but it does become detrimental in the long term. If you do it religiously for an indefinite period of time, then it becomes an issue. Because at that point, you're just pushing things off that need attention and care. It's almost like we seek pieces of escape because so many of us are overdosing from reality. There's only so much reality and discomfort people can stomach until they need a break or a release. A cat isn't worried about paying the bills, and an armchair isn't worried about confronting its existential crisis. Our consciousness and brain are amazing gifts that allow us to be so multi-dimensional. But as with everything in life, there is a give and take. With all the amazing things we can do and conceive of, there's also a lot of exposure to the much more finite and complex things that can be hard for us to stomach. We deal with so many things that are not in our control and so many things we don't understand. So we crave something much more alluring. It's like at any one point in life, we're at a war. Whether it's a cultural war, financial war, or an internal war. So it obviously makes sense at some point to want to indulge in a few things here and there. It makes us feel better, and we all want to feel good. With enough escapism, we can end up viewing ourselves in our escape fantasies as a totally separate entity. And perhaps an ultimate goal of escapism is like partial self-destruction, right? We want to disassociate ourselves from the person we're running away from, right? We want nothing to do with our depression or with our anxiety. We want to be alleviated of our problems and all our hurt. And that's why we all have vices. Escapism is an intentional detachment and distraction from the real world. And that's fine. We all need a place to find solitude in so we don't burn out from the burdens and responsibilities we all face as human beings. But as with most things in life, too much of a good thing can end up being a bad thing. Escaping from our realities every now and again is healthy, it's normal. Like I said, we're all modern day escape artists, and our escapism is a tool to help us live and cope when necessary. Just don't let it become your daily driver. When you start to realize that your vices are overpowering your life, it's time to take a closer look. Don't get too cooped up in your own head, and don't let yourself suffocate from the weight of your vices. You're a human being. Be kind to yourself, and take care of yourself.